it good enough for now, and is it safe enough to try? So this was something I learned when I did a sociocracy training course, and the fact that I still remember it is absolutely miraculous, because my dyslexia is a short-term memory issue. So I very often do training courses. I love learning things, but actually for something to stay in my brain after a long time, I have to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, or it has to be exceptionally memorable, and I still have to repeat it quite a few times. So that phrase from my sociocracy training course, I did forget about it for quite a few years, and then one day I was struggling with decisions and stuff, and I was just like, what was that phrase again? And I went and looked it up, and it was like, is it good enough for now? Is it safe enough to try? So it's for like collaborative equity decision making. So sociocracy is very much about everybody getting a chance to have a say and making sure that everybody is heard. So, and that includes even if you're very against something, blah, blah. So say you're in an organisation, you're having a meeting about a new thing you're going to implement, it makes sure everybody gets a say. But obviously at the end of that, you need to make a decision about what's going to happen. So I'm not going into the whole sociocracy thing. I'll put a link so that you can go and look it up, because as I said, I probably don't remember most of it. So if you're into sociocracy and I've just totally destroyed what it is, please feel free to correct everybody. But what I loved about the phrase, is it good enough for now and is it safe enough to try, was if you had a couple of people who just weren't agreeing, and somebody saying, no, we shouldn't do this, and somebody else saying, well, we could, and then somebody else saying, what about doing it like this? Then that phrase was supposed to help you sort of stop and go, right, can we implement something time bound? So is it good enough for now? Meaning, let's try it for a bit and see and regroup, but also, is it safe enough to try so there's no implicit risk involved, etc., etc. Obviously, if you're running a business with a lot of people, that's very important. But what I found really useful is for me to think it as well, just for stuff that I'm doing, like decisions I'm making for my business or things that we're doing with us as a family. And it's been really useful for that, especially seeing as I am a terrible procrastinator. Got slightly better now I'm on meds, but also a massive perfectionist, which means sometimes I just don't get anything done because I want it to be perfect. And the thing it stops you doing is going, I'm just going to keep doing it, making it better, because who are you making it better for? And it's lovely to stop and go, is it good enough for now? Is it safe enough to try? Then I can get some feedback. So if it's a course I'm putting out, then put it out, get feedback, tweak it. Implementing something doesn't mean that's it, it's done. I'm from an IT background, and obviously you test things ridiculously before you put them into a live situation, but bugs invariably come up. Doesn't matter how hard you've tried to make sure that it's absolutely perfect, there's always going to be those little tweaks, or someone using it and going, I don't like the fact it does that, that's not what I thought, blah blah blah. So this idea of, is it good enough for now, is it safe enough to try, actually I find is a really useful thing to remember for me trying things or putting things out there, and not just getting stuck in, it needs to be perfect, I could do this, I could put that in, I could do whatever. And it really helped with my decision to try the extra ADHD meds, because is it good enough for now? Is it safe enough to try? Yes, I'm still under the umbrella of the people who are helping me titrate the drugs, whereas if I'd said, let's just go back to the one that seemed to work, I would then have been given back to my GP, and then if I wanted to try something else, it would be more problematic. And I'm just like, well, whilst everything is still up in the air and I'm not sure what's going on, is it good enough for now? Is it safe enough to try? Then sure, it's safe enough to try. It's good enough for now because I've put lots of things on hold whilst getting used to the drugs. I'm using it as a very good experiment to see how it's impacting me. So for me, it really helped with my decision as to what to do yesterday, with deciding whether to try the new drugs or just go back to the ones that had sort of worked. So as I said, I'll put the link, but I just think it's a really useful brain hack. If you're sort of a bit stuck, then is it good enough for now? Is it safe enough to try? And if the answer's yes, give yourself a limit. Say I'm going to try it for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever time limit works for you, and just move through, especially if you're a perfectionist like me. Just give it a go. And whatever you do, remember you're amazing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.